So when the February banned and restricted announcement, many of us were pleasantly surprised to see the commoner format get changes. And on top of that, a shocker, come on friends, pun definitely intended, Ball Lightning unbanned, causing jaws to drop everywhere. Certainly, they couldn't be bringing back a major piece of the original broken deck in the format. Brian, you crazy. But now that we're several months removed, I think it's fair to say that Ball Lightning hasn't been anywhere near as impactful as we'd initially feared. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood commoner folks. Welcome back to the channel. Another installment of Dice Commando coming to you midweek, most weeks. And that's right, even though Project Blue is out there and that's where all the attention is, we're still talking commoner because I believe the format has value. And I would like to ask you personally, if you also believe the commoner has value and you want to see videos on it, like you like below, right? That's my signal. I look at data just like everybody else does. So thank you in advance for that. Now, before we go into the rest of the video, because commoner format is an entry format, and as such, there may be a lot of folks who weren't here in the game like 3-ish years ago, I want to actually cover how Ball Lightning works. Now, the reason a lot of new folks may not understand how Ball Lightning works is because it's been banned for like a long time. Fun fact, by the way, Ball Lightning was one of my spoiler cards for Tales of Aria. And it got banned. Actually, I have an interesting history of cards I spoiled getting banned, but it's neither here nor there. So Ball Lightning, what this says is whenever a lightning or elemental action card would deal damage is combat chain, which means you can't break the chain by playing a non-attack or something like that. Instead, it deals that much damage plus 1, go again. So just to be clear, how this works, bringing folks up to speed. If you were to play something like a Bramble Spark. So Bramble Spark says the next attack action card you play this turn gains when you attack with this deal 1 arcane damage to target hero, and if it was fused, you gain +3. Now where this is relevant to Ball Lightning is Ball Lightning amplifies on lightning or elemental cards when you would deal damage, you get +1. So with Bramble Spark, it automatically adds 1 additional arcane to the attack. So this deals 2 arcane because the 1 arcane being dealt gets amplified. Amp is perhaps not the ideal term for me to use in this case, but it's increased by 1 as per Ball Lightning. Interestingly enough, though, Ball Lightning still attacks for 3. Now, if it was fused, yes, it would attack for 6. But in the case where it's non-fused, Ball Lightning itself as a card attacks for 3, but hits for 4. Now, what's important to remember here is this doesn't come in for 4 because you only deal damage when the delta between attack and defense and non-prevention is greater than 0. Okay, so you have to be net positive in order to deal damage, in which case if you dealt 1, it would automatically become 2 with Ball Lightning. Clear as mud, I know. Part of the reason this card got banned back in the day, by the way, is because there was a lot of really interesting discussions from a judge standpoint. That is actually, if we're being honest, part of it. So I get it, clear as mud. So I want to throw up another example just to make this clear. So Ball Lightning into Rites of Lightning. So Rites of Lightning says, when you attack with Rites of Lightning, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane. And if you've dealt arcane this turn, it gets go again. So inherently a 1 of 4. So if this was fused, it deals 2 arcane. If it was not fused, it deals 0 arcane, right? And it attacks for 4, but hits for 5. Furthermore, if we were to look at Ball Lightning into a Buzzbolt, if it was fused, Buzzbolt attacks for 5 and hits for 6, and on hit deals 2 additional damage because that 1 that it deals would thus be increased from a Ball Lightning by 1, making a total of 2. Okay, so that is how Ball Lightning works, and that is why, in the past, Ball Lightning was identified as being pretty darn freaking good, right? And to kind of talk about why it got banned to begin with, we need to actually go back to the history of commoner format. One of the very earliest competitive, I don't know why I'm using air quotes, it was one of the very earliest competitive commoner formats was, I don't remember the date, but it was, 2-3 years ago. And the gentleman you see across the screen now, Pheno Black, right? was on, he won the event. The event was actually being offered, I think, by a third party for a lore book, which is a pretty good prize. So, you know, it drug out people like Fino, right? Fino doesn't show up for nothing, right? Once something, competitive player, showed up with this deck that we see across the screen right now, which was just a stubby, belittle, basically it's like a greatest hits ban list of commoner from a certain point of view. And actually, again, this is a still shot. His original deck, the reason I'm not sharing it with you, is on FabDB, which is really struggles. I go to it and I can't really load it anymore. But you get the point, right? It was stubbies, belittle, and all that. So in context of where it was at the time, Ball Lightning was crazy broken. But if we really go to this image right here, you see what else has been killed. Belittle's no longer legal. Stubby Hammers is no longer legal. Ironweave's no longer legal. Rosetta Thorn's no longer legal. So when I kind of made the joke on the intro about, Brian, you crazy, it's actually not unreasonable, especially when you consider a card like Fry. It's not unreasonable to bring Ball Lightning back. And again, when a lot of us start, we're like, a lot of us old souls, I think that's fair to say, we're like, because we had PTSD, PT, Ball, Lightning, D, whatever, you get it. We remembered the olden days and weren't really putting it in context of all the things that don't exist anymore that made this card stupid and allowed you to tutor the card. Well, not tutor the card, but tutor what you needed to do the thing. You get it with Belittle, right? And kind of taking me to the point of today's cast, Ball Lightning's really actually not, I've been trying to build decks with it, and it is 100% a windmill slam. It's way better than Fry. Zero question there, right? Just strictly better. But frankly, doing Ball Lightning focused decks don't really work. One of the decks that I came out of the gate with trying was, I talked about this, was, a Shiver Dominate Lexi. It's like, oh, let's just do EDD, extra damage Dominate Lexi, Ball Lightning into what I need and fuse it. And therein lies the problem that we've seen, and I've talked to others about this. Sean, him and I both went back on this, and he's like, yeah, I tried to make it work. I couldn't get it to work. The problem in today's commoner Flesh and Blood world is this card trying to do it to an elemental card makes it really hard within the card pool of commoner to also have what you need to fuse. Right? Because a lot of times you're counting on Ball Lightning to be the lightning card that you fuse with, then you put in an arsenal, and then you lead with it. But if you do like an Arcanic Shockwave, or if you're trying to do like the Ranger thing that I was mentioning about, you also have to load and do that. That's just frankly not enough combined damage. And what you're really just hoping to do is like Ball Lightning, Ball Lightning, Ball Lightning, something. But if you're not either doing the Arcane or getting the on hit for the stacked like Buzzbolt or Frazzle type damage, it's just really not working. So that's the struggles I've been having with the card. Today's cast, I'm not teaching you anything, quote unquote, like normal. I'm actually talking about just how I think Ball Lightning being back is okay. And many of our original reaction was like, Brian, you crazy, right? But I think it's okay. And I'm actually struggling to get it to, it's probably better than okay, because I'm struggling to get it to work. I do think right now, if we want to actually take some learnings from it, I do think right now, like Mark of Lightning, really smart card to use with that, because you get the compounded pings, especially like maybe in a Ranger deck. But I think right now, Aurora and Commoner takes huge advantage of this. And, sometimes we got to give LSS the tip of the hat, because I don't think it was accidental that they brought this back when the whole argument of the thing was, why play Aurora over Briar and Commoner? And I think Ball Lightning is the answer. And the reason I say that is, again, right, Ball Lightning's over there. You very clearly see this combat chain. What does Briar like to do? Pump stuff, right? Play non-attack so you get go again. And what I mean by that is like, so what you'd want to do, let's say Arcanic Shockwave again, right? Lead with Ball Lightning, right? If you want to give Arcanic Shockwave go again, what do you have to do? Pump it, which means you would have to break Chane with your Nimbleism, your Sizzle, whatever. And then Ball Lightning doesn't work anymore. So I actually really want to give a huge shout out. I think Cash is probably responsible for some of this. Like, let's make sure we give, the attention where attention is due. This is actually like a pretty high level bring back. On the surface, we're like, what the hell are you doing? That's crazy. But now that we've had reps, we're 2-3 months removed. It's actually pretty smart. So got to give, as I said, tip of the hat. Ball Lightning is, I think, completely fine within the format, and maybe even, it's not as good as we thought. So our initial reaction as humans is always like, oh, well, it's not as good as I thought, so it's bad. I don't think that's true at all. But I think it has its place in very specific archetypes, and I don't think it's going to do what we all were fearing it was due. I think Ball Lightning has its place. So anyway, that'll be it. Thank you all very much. Hey, buddy, you want to come say bye? Say goodnight?
Yeah.
Hey. Hey, dude. I love you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming and saying goodnight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I love you, buddy.
Are you doing an interview?
Well, I'm doing a cast right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good night, buddy.
Good night.
Hey, buddy. Listen to your mom, okay? Head on pillow, good night.
Yeah.
All right. I love you.
Love you too.
All right.
I'll
All right.
close the door.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for closing the door. All right. Well, that was a thing. I'm going to leave that in, I think, because you know what? I love my kid. Anyway, that's all. And go Commando.